Welcome students. In today's session, we will discuss the fifth chapter of your science textbook, that is acids, bases and salts. Children, in your previous sessions, you have already studied about the properties of acids and the properties of bases. You have also learned about indicators, and you have also studied about natural indicators around us like litmus paper, which is obtained from lichens and it is a natural dye. And then you have also learned about turmeric, which also act as a natural indicator. Then you learned about the properties of China rose as an indicator. You have also studied about various neutral solutions, and you have also studied about effect of various chemicals on litmus paper. In today's session, we will discuss about neutralization reaction, use of a very new indicator which is known as phenolphthalein, and neutralization in everyday life with help of some of the examples like ingestion, ant sting, soil treatment and factory waste. So children, now let us begin with today's session with a new topic which is neutralization. So let us discuss the verbal meaning of neutralization here. In chemistry, neutralization is a chemical reaction in which an acid and a base react quantitatively with each other. In a reaction in water, neutralization results in there being no excess of hydrogen or hydroxide ions present in the solution. What is neutralization? Children, before discussing this question's answer to you, I want to tell you one thing, that bases are also known as alkalis. Acids and alkalis are like chemical opposites to each other. And neutralization reaction means, the verbal meaning of neutralization means compensating something or making something neutral. If we add just a right amount of an acid to a base or an alkali, they cancel each other out and makes each other neutral. And after mixing such kind of solutions, one acid and a base, in correct amount, we get a neutral solution as a resultant. A chemical reaction takes place here, and the acid and base react together. In any chemical reaction, a new substances are made. In this case, a salt and water are formed. The reaction is called as neutralization reaction. We can understand this reaction by this example. Here in this slide you can see acid is written, and this acid is reacting with a base. And after this reaction of acid and base, it is producing two products, that is salt and water. So, children, table salt is often called as common salt, and chemically it is known as sodium chloride. Like this way, there are various other kind of salts which can be created by adding acids and bases in correct amount. During the neutralization, the actual reaction that occurred is between a hydrogen ion from the acid and one hydroxide ion, that is OH minus ion, from the base or alkali to form one molecule of water, which is denoted as H2O. The ionic equation between an acid and an alkali or a base can be constructed and written as shown below. Here in this slide you can see a chemical equation where HCl is written. Children, HCl is a hydrochloric acid which is reacting with sodium hydroxide. This sodium hydroxide is written as NaOH here. When these two, acid and base, are reacting, it is producing NaCl and water molecule here. As I told you earlier that HCl is a hydrochloric acid and NaOH is a base. So after this reaction of acid and base, what you are getting here? You are getting a salt which is written as NaCl and water. In this slide, you can see one more example of neutralization reaction in which you can see a acid HNO3 which is reacting with a base NaOH. And after this neutralization reaction between acid and base, we are getting a salt which is NaNO3 and water as a byproduct. So here children, you need to practice this reaction by writing it in a rough notebook. Now we will discuss about one more new type of indicator which is called as phenolphthalein, or sometimes we also pronounce it as phenolphthalein. Actually it is phenolphthalein. So now let us begin with this new type of indicator. This is an indicator which tells us about acid and base, and it gives pink color in base and no color in acidic solution. So here children, in this slide you can see a bottle of phenolphthalein and you can also see two beakers here in which few drops of phenolphthaleins are added. In acidic beaker, if the phenolphthalein indicator is added, it is not showing any change in color, whereas in case of another beaker where a base is there, if we will add few drops of phenolphthalein indicator there, it will turn its color to pink color. Now there is one activity children which is based on this phenolphthalein indicator and which will explain you about neutralization reaction. In this activity we will take two test tubes. To one of the test tube we will fill with dilute hydrochloric acid and we will note down its color. In another test tube we will take some amount of phenolphthalein solution and we will also note down its color. Now in first test tube we will add 2 to 3 drops of phenolphthalein indicator in HCl acid. Now we will shake it gently and we will observe the changes in it. But what you will find children? That there will not be any change in this test tube. And then what we will do? We will add to the acidic solution a drop of sodium hydroxide. And you know that sodium hydroxide is a base. So earlier in this test tube only acid was there, and when we added phenolphthalein indicator into it, there was no change in color. But after that, when we added few drops of NaOH base and when we mixed it, we found some change in color, and that change was pink color. The test tube which was earlier colorless was showing pink color now. Now Add one more drop of dilute hydrochloric acid into it. What will you observe now? You will see that slowly that pink color will get faint. The solution again becomes colorless when you will add more drops of HCl into this test tube. Again, add one more drop of sodium hydroxide solution and again observe the changes in it. You will see that the test tube is again showing pink color. With this activity, it is evident that when the solution is basic, phenolphthalein gives a pink color. On the other hand, when the solution is acidic, it remains colorless. That means phenolphthalein provides pink color to the basic solutions. Now, when an acidic solution is mixed with a basic solution, both the solution neutralizes the effect of each other. When an acid solution and a base solution are mixed in a suitable amount, both the acidic nature of the acid and basic nature of the base are completely destroyed or became neutral. The resulting solution is neither acidic nor basic, so it's neutral. That is how neutralization reaction takes place. Here in this slide you can see that a conical flask is there, in which one side with one test tube we are pouring acid, which is denoted as shown as red pink color here, and base, which is shown as blue color here. So when we are mixing these two in correct amount, it is producing a totally different type of a substance, which is shown as green color here, and it is forming salt and water. So this is neutralization reaction. So the reaction between an acid and a base is known as neutralization. Salt and water are produced in this process, and at the time of production of salt and water, some heat is also released in this reaction. So in neutralization reaction, heat is always produced or evolved. In neutralization reaction, a new substance is formed. This is called as salt. Salt may be acidic in nature or basic in nature or neutral in nature. Depending upon the amount of acid, base, salt can be formed. So here again in this slide I have tried to show you that a girl's picture is there. When she is mixing acid and base together, she is getting a neutral substance which is having salt and water into it. Now when a strong acid like HCl reacts with a strong base like NaOH, the net ionic equation is HCl plus NaOH. Here AQ is written. That AQ is nothing, just an aqueous solution. Aqueous means liquid solution of HCl and NaOH base. So after reaction of these two, NaOH and HCl, we are getting a salt NaCl, which is also in a liquid form or in aqueous solution, and we are getting water here. One more example can be taken here to make you clear about neutralization reaction, in which we can take calcium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, and when we are adding these two, we are getting calcium chloride, salt and water. So here calcium hydroxide is written as CaOH whole twice, and it is in a aqueous form, and a acid taken is HCl, hydrochloric acid, which is also in a aqueous form, and after reaction of this we are getting calcium chloride, which is also in aqueous form, and water. So now children, let us study about this neutralization reaction in our day-to-day life. There are so many examples where neutralization reaction occurs in our daily life. One of the example is taken here, that is indigestion. Children, sometime when you eat so much of oily food or when your stomach is not working properly, you suffer with indigestion or acidity problem. So that time, what relieves you, or if you will go to doctor, what the doctor will give you as a medicine to relieve this acidity? Doctor will prescribe you an antacid. So what is there in that antacid? That antacid contains bases in it which neutralize the acid which is produced in your body, and as a result of this neutralization reaction, after consuming that antacid tablet, you don't get the problem of acidity. So hydrochloric acid in the stomach helps in digestion of food. Children, you have studied in your previous chapters also, in which you studied about the digestion of food, and you also studied that HCl acid is secreted in stomach. But when too much of this acid is secreted in stomach, or sometimes when we eat so much of acidic food, it leads to indigestion process. To relieve this indigestion, we take an antacid such as milk of magnesia. So this milk of magnesia is nothing but magnesium hydroxide, which is a base. So when you consume this base, it neutralizes the acid which is secreted in your stomach, and as a result of this, you get relieved from acidity problem. Now children, we will take one more example of neutralization reaction in our day-to-day life. That is, sometime ant or wasp bites you. That time you get some irritation because the sting of an ant contains formic acid into it. Children, here formic acid is an acid. So when an ant bites, it injects acidic liquid into your skin. The effect of the sting can be neutralized by rubbing a soda on the affected area, and that soda is nothing, just a baking soda, which is also known as sodium hydrogen carbonate or calamine solution, which contains zinc carbonate, which is a base on the affected area. Another example of neutralization reaction in our everyday life is soil treatment. Children, we know that farmers use various types of chemical fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, etc., which can make the soil either too acidic or too basic in nature. And plants do not grow very well when the soil is either too acidic or too basic. So when the soil becomes very acidic because of excessive use of acidic fertilizers, chemicals into that soil, that time we treat that acidic soil with a base, that is quicklime, calcium oxide, or slaked lime, which is calcium hydroxide. And when we add these quicklime and slaked lime, which are the bases, it neutralizes the acidic effect of the soil, and as a result of this, the soil becomes neutral in nature. If the soil is basic in nature, organic matters are added to it. Organic matters releases acids which neutralizes the basic nature of the soil. Now let us discuss one more example of neutralization reaction, that is factory waste. Children, we know that there are so many types of factories all around us in urban areas, and all these types of factories also produce some waste, and these waste contain acids in them. If they are allowed to flow into water bodies, the acids will kill fish and the small plants which are growing into that water body. So, the factory waste are needed to be neutralized by adding some basic substances into it. And once these basic substances are added into the acidic waste of factories, it will neutralize the waste, and now that waste will not harm plant and other life forms which are present in the water where this waste will be discarded. Children, this is all about neutralization reaction which is related to our day-to-day life. Now let us begin with a wrapping up of entire chapter. So, in the beginning of this chapter, you studied about the properties of acids and bases, in which you studied that curd, lemon juice, orange juice and vinegar are sour in taste. So these substances which are sour in taste are acids. So the word acid comes from a Latin word which is acer, which means sour. So the acids in these substances are natural acids which are sour in taste. Then you also studied about some bases. The substances which feel bitter in taste and feel soapy on touching are known as bases. The nature of substances is said to be basic in that case. Special type of substances are used to test whether a substance is acidic or basic in nature, because every time you cannot taste a substance to check whether it is acidic or basic. So these substances which are used to check whether a substance is base or acidic are called as indicators. The indicators change their color when added to solutions containing an acid or basic substance. Turmeric, litmus, China rose petals, etc. are some of the examples of naturally occurring indicators. Now, let us begin with litmus, which is a natural dye. We know that we get this litmus from lichens. It has a purple color in distilled water. So when added to an acidic solution, it turns red. And when added to basic solution, it turns blue. And it is available in the form of solution or in the form of strips of a paper, which is known as litmus paper. Generally, it is available as red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. Now, we will discuss about turmeric, which is another very easily available natural indicator, which is available in your kitchens also. So, you can take that turmeric from your kitchen and you can check some of the acidic and basic substances to check whether turmeric is acting as an indicator or not. They also studied about one more natural indicator, which is China rose or hibiscus flower, which is also known as jaswant flower in Marathi and gudhal in Hindi, and this flower also acts as an indicator. Then after this you studied about that acids turn blue litmus paper red and bases turn red litmus paper blue, and substances which are neither acidic and nor basic are called as neutral substances. The solutions of substances that show different color in acidic, basic and neutral substances are called as indicators. An acid and a base neutralizes each other and forms salt and water. A salt may be either acidic or basic, or it may also be neutral in nature. You also studied about neutralization reaction with some examples in the form of reactions, and then you also studied about some of the examples of neutralization reaction that are occurring in our day-to-day life. Children, now there are some questions for you. The first question is, what do you mean by neutralization? Second question is, what will be formed by mixing acid and base? And the third question is, why doctors suggest you to take an antacid when someone suffers with acidity? Children, hope you understood the chapter very well, so you will write all the answers correctly. Thank you.